The Revenant Tier 5 update gave us access to a few new items such as the Wardens Helmet, the X of the Shredded, and the new Reaper set, but for this video we're going to be focusing on the Wardens Helmet and comparing with other damage increasing helmets such as the Crown of Greed and the Tarantula Helmets. Just by looking at this new helmet's ability, it looks like it's gonna outdamage these two new helmets by quite a lot, but it has a negative side factor of halving your speed, but it says plus 10% base weapon damage for every 25 speed you have, so if you had 400% speed, it's gonna halve it to 200% speed, but it is going to give you 80% more weapon damage, and that is pretty insane. And it says base weapon damage, so I believe it increases the base weapon damage over here. So on weapons such as the Emerald Blade, I feel like it's gonna be really good. So we're gonna be testing it on the new X of the Shredded, the Emerald Blade, and the Hyperion. We're also gonna be using sets like the Reaper set, Necron set, and Tuxedo sets. So the first test is gonna be using the Necron Armor, and if you watched my previous video, you will know that I sold my Necron for a Storm set, but that is no more as I got a new set of Necron for these damage sets and I really wanted the accurate values for these new helmets, so should be a fair test even for dungeon use. And the Legion factor, you might not think it's fair because it's not in the Warden helmet, but there is no players around me, so it should be even out with all the helmets whether it has Legion or no Legion. Firstly, with the Necron set, I'm gonna be using the good old Tarantula helmet first. With an E-Drag pad with the Hyperion, I'll be doing 637,000 damage. With the Emerald Blade, 900 million coins, I will be doing 1.07 million damage. X of the Shredded, 1.318 million damage. And the X of Shredded does more damage here as it has 250% damage to zombies, but it will not work as well in dungeons or against other mobs. Next up, same test with the Crown of Greed, Hyperion, 700k damage about. With the Emerald Blade, 1.18, X of the Shredded, 1.5 million, 4 million damage. With the Warden's helmet, this should be quite high according to reading the ability itself. The Hyperion is, my speed is lower, keep in mind of that in dungeons, you're gonna have very slow speed. And it's not gonna be that high in dungeons as you're not gonna be able to have 400% speed in dungeons unless you're using a specific armor for it. Hyperion, 1 million damage, that's pretty good. Emerald Blade, 1. What? Okay, that's really high. With the X of the Shredded, it's going to be 2 million damage. Oh wow, that is very high with high base weapons. So with the help of some guild members, I got into a solo dungeon lobby and I'm going to be testing the two new helmets. I'm not going to be using the Crown of Greed as it's not going to work, but I'm going to be using the Tarantula helmet and the Warden helmet, as it might be different as the speed in dungeons is not, you get is not 400%. So with the Tarantula helmet, and keep in mind I'm a mage and I'm going Berserker class for like once, so I'm going to be doing pool damage, but it is what it is. So with the Livid Dagger and the Tarantula helmet at the start of dungeon, I'm going to be doing about 10 million damage to this guy. 20 million, I think that's a backstab. 10 million regular hit. And when I switch to the Warden's helmet, my speed is a lot slower, and my damage is going to be 12 million. So it's not going to be that much of an increase in speed, but it will be higher with greater blessings as you have more speed, and even with 0 blessings you will do more damage with the Warden's helmet. So conclusion from using the Necron set, the Warden helmet is better in almost every single situation, but in dungeons it's only slightly better, so if you don't like the low speed of it, you might stick with the Tarantula helmet. Next up with the highest damaging Tuxedo set. So we don't really need to account for the Tarantula helmet as it's just worse than the Crown of Greed in every single scenario. But starting with the Crown of Greed this time, Hyperion is going to do 691,000, Emerald Blade, 1.2 million damage, X of the Shredded, 1.4 million damage. Next up with the Warden's helmet, Hyperion is going to be 1.3 million damage, Emerald Blade, 2.6 million damage, and 2.8 million damage with the X of the Shredded. So that's insane damage over here with the Warden's helmet. If I do like a swap from Emerald Blade to the 10 million damage with this setup. So the Tuxedo did insane damage, but next up trying with the Reaper set, it might do more damage in fact, because it has the ability where if you crouch you're gonna do a lot more damage, but just to see. And it also does more damage against zombies, but that will not work with other mobs, so keep that in account. Firstly with the Tarantula helmet, I'll be hitting Hyperion, 660k, 1.2 with the Emerald Blade, 1.38 with the X of the Shredded, With the crown, I'll be hitting for 717, 1.33, 1.5. With the Warden's Helmet, I'm going to be hitting for 1 million damage, 1.9 million damage, 2.18 million damage. And that's almost as high as the Tuxedo, not exactly as high, but if you crouch, 2.9 million damage, crouch with swap, 9.34 million damage. So this is almost as high as the Tuxedo if you crouch, so if you're doing Revenants, there's no doubt to go with this set over the Tuxedo. Okay, yeah, 12 million damage. Yeah, with this setup and a few people for the Legion buff, you can one-shot a tier 5 Revenant boss. So my final opinion on the Warden's Helmet, it is an expensive helmet coming in at 200 million coins, so it's not something you can just get on the go for most players. And in dungeons, the damage increase is not that much, so I wouldn't recommend it, especially as if you're a Berserker, the speed decrease is going to affect you quite a lot. Outside of dungeons, you don't need that much DPS, so I wouldn't recommend it too much. But if you want to grind tier 5 Reverence and you want to do the one-shot capability, yeah, go for it.